Man, welcome back everybody to another Purpose Served podcast episode. It's your legendary host, Darryl Wingfield. And if you're new to this podcast is simply about inspiring you guys to be the best version of yourselves that you could possibly be by innovating and improving the human experience. And on a spiritual level, honoring the two greatest commandments that was given by the Holy One, Jesus Christ himself, by Moses, and the prophets, which is to love the Lord your God and to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Thank you all for being here with me today. Warfare is amongst us. And I'm not talking about the political climate and the stage of the world. This stuff is inevitable. I'm talking about the war on our mind instead of military campaigns and all of that. There is a war on our minds. Psychological warfare. And I've also been speaking on spiritual warfare too, which in its essence, that's what it is. The root cause for this stuff, and you can disagree with me if you want. Everybody has the right to their own opinion. Everybody has the right to their own opinion. But the root cause to this stuff seems to stem from desire in the heart. And the desires in our heart is wanting what the body crave. And if you seeking what the body crave, that will naturally lead you towards death. And you have to overcome what your heart desires. And once you do that and develop a different heart posture, you will desire things differently. And you would desire different things. What they have done to us throughout the years is they dumbed us down. I don't like to say this kind of stuff because it's like watered down. Everything that I'm about to say for like the next little bit is kind of watered down. So please forgive me. But I mean this from the bottom of my heart. But they trauma dumped on people. And people have experienced so many things that's abnormal to their mind and their body. They are no longer proactive when it comes to life, and they're reactive. And they're deactive. Meaning that they don't even care to respond to anything that's going on right now. It's a shoulder shrug. And for the most part, people don't care because they feel as though they never had any control in the first place. They never had any control. With the constant advertisements that's pulling at your lower natures of desiring what the body want, feeling a lack of purpose, and lacking a sense of responsibility to yourself and your fellow man. You go through life like that, it's going to be extremely hard to want to press on and want to live. And even if you out there in the world having fun, partying, drinking, smoking, having sex, doing drugs, whatever it is, that's a part of your vices. Eventually, it's all going to catch up to you. And you're going to realize that you stack something in your heart, in your soul, in your spirit that's so heavy that you don't think that there's going to be ever a way for you to even get back home. How do one even get back home? And what is home? If you've been tuning in to this podcast and the purpose serves message, that home is simply the truth. And the truth is to be found in God. And what I encourage you guys to do is to seek the light of truth that is deep down within you. It's deep down within you. And there you will find your sense of purpose in this thing called life. You will find your purpose. If you're looking for external means to carry you over, it's only going to be temporary. And you were made from what's eternal and endless. But you're not endless and eternal, but you're a part of it. You are a part of it. Before I get too crazy, let's backtrack, because that was a huge statement that I just made. So let's backtrack a little bit. Let's backtrack. A couple of episodes ago, probably 10, 15 episodes ago, I brought up a CIA operation called MK Ultra. And what MK Ultra was, it was pretty much a program to brainwash people. All right? There was a lot of hypnotizing involved. There was a lot of drugs involved. And speaking of things horrific, there was a lot of trauma involved within this. And exposing people to really dark stuff. They experimented on the youth, primarily college kids. This is where you get the start of the hippie movement at like universities and stuff like that. And also brothels is where a lot of these experiments was also going on. So with that all being said, we got to ask ourselves an important question. Is there a common theme from that time of the 60s, 70s, 50s? Do they correlate now in modern times? Of being desensitized with drugs, sex, and violence. There's a lot of people that is on medication right now, prescribed medication, so they get it from their doctors. And you will think that by taking this medication in due time, it should heal you from whatever issues that you are having. And it's not. It's almost as if it's numb you to your current situation. And I'm not no medical professional or anything. This is simply my opinion. All right. So everybody can just disagree with me, whatever, how they feel. Whatever, how they feel. But if you're going to a doctor, the reason why you're going to a doctor is to be healed of whatever illness or sickness that you have. Not to prolong it. Not for other symptoms to pop up and things just constantly are getting worse. There's so many people that are on antidepressants. Things that makes them block things out and get them a little loopy and not here. And you guys must understand something. Due to the fact that you blocking something out, that don't necessarily mean that it disappears. That don't mean that the problem is resolved. You just pushed it in the back somewhere, and it will resurface in due time. It's going to come back. And we are seeking quick fix solutions to everything and are not finding them. We are not finding them. We're not finding them in anything that's external. It's not working. And this is how dumbed down society has become. Artificial intelligence, AI. I think you guys know my stance at this point when it comes to it. Pretty cool tool, whatever. But it's the over-reliance that is eventually going to happen. For people having this stuff think for them. Creativity will disappear because of it. And technology is making us be removed further and further away from the essence and the nature of who we are. And it's almost as if we are becoming symbiotic with technology. Like we can't live without it. Which is very, very dangerous to, like I said, to start this whole thing out, our psychology and our mind. Which also is in connection with our body. And we've been on a crazy path, man, as a human race. The reason why I say that, it just seems like things shifted. If you look closely at the different epochs of time, that it went from things that were extremely spiritual and internal, and slowly but surely went out into the world. And once we started getting a grasp on nature to a certain degree, that's where our gods became. It stopped being in the imagination of what we deemed nature to be in the stars in the heavens, but it started shifting towards science. Because science is what is tangible. Science is what we can label and measure. Put in a box. And that's not what the world entails. It's not what the world entails. The world is not some something that is just materials clumped up together that just so happen to be operating in the way that it is, and once it's over and done with, that nothing else exists. Like, that breeds the mindset of nihilism and that you don't even matter. And I'm here to make the argument that you actually do matter. You matter to this world. You matter to the collective as a whole. And that is a part of God's providence for creation itself. And don't fall into this trap of this evil satanic system that we are living in right now. It is pure evil. And the only thing that it wants is to put it into your spirit. It don't want you to seek your purpose. It don't want you to live out your purpose. It don't want you to maximize on your goals, and it don't want you to maximize on your life. It's trying to lull you and put you to sleep. Last podcast episode, we was talking about the allegory of the gate cave and going from that state of ignorance to enlightenment and the difficulty within that and the trials that you will face when going through that. It's inevitable. And it's also a gradual process. It really is a gradual process. For me personally, what really started to shift my lens and my perspective, I noticed two things in particular. I noticed that I was off, And I noticed that the world around me was off due to the fact that I was personally off. I noticed that there was something in me that knew it was more to life than a life that I was actually living. And the life that I was living was simply doing the best that I can in the worst way to get by on a daily with no forethought involved and no critical thinking involved at all. It's just pleasure seeking. Pleasure seeking all the way. And I didn't know any better because nobody didn't teach me better. Everybody around me was doing the same thing that I was doing. In fact, that's what I learned my off behavior from. And I wasn't around people that were truly seeking the truth. I wasn't around people that didn't take their lives serious. What I did take their lives serious, excuse me. And then one day I just woke up. And I said, I don't want this anymore. And I want to change. I know God is real. And I must seek God. Did this happen overnight? Nope. I had a lot to overcome. It was a whole lot that I had to overcome. But I was willing to make that climb to get out of the cave and get to the true source of light in the natural world. And then I realized something pivotal. I realized, and this is more and more every day, I realized that a lot of people talk about what they want, but they're not willing to put in no sort of action and effort to actually get what they want. A lot of people don't even care to even think about that. A lot of people much rather be miserable and living around people who keep them miserable company and hate them so much. And I'm like, this is all backwards. So then I said, you know what? I have to remove myself from all of this. Because this is not helpful. This is not good for me. Even if that meant being alone a little bit. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. And I actually did that. And what I'm coming to understand is right now in this present moment, that was the best thing for me to actually do. And we talk about the 3 S's on here all the time, which is solitude, silence, and stillness. And these 3 qualities is going to have your purpose be revealed to you. God can reveal himself to you. Psalm 46, chapter 46, verse 10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." We are far removed from that stillness because we live in a hustle and bustle culture. Every day you gotta be getting after it. And if you truly live like that and you're disconnected with your soul and you're disconnected with your spirit, you're going to be burnt out. And you're not going to have the energy to do anything. And in fact, physical symptoms will show up in your life from you living like that. And the physical symptoms is going to show up by your body shutting down and you getting really, really sick to the point where you're not going to be able to get out of bed. And that's an indicator for not only your body, but on a higher faculty level from your soul and spirit level, that is God telling you to chill. Be still. Calm down. A lot of y'all need to calm down. A lot of y'all need to watch what's going on that's within you and watch what's going on that's outside of you simultaneously at the same time. You gotta balance this out. Like, life is truly a balancing act. And once you step back from it, I said something on the last podcast episode. A lot of things I say can be paradoxical in this nature. It can be. And I said that life can be complicated in a sense because we all are single parts individually coming together collectively as a whole. And you need to understand where you fit in within that whole. And all the pieces are a little complicated. But it simply flows. That's the paradox. It flows. It simply flows. And it will flow still no matter what without human beings interfering with it. So you must go with the river while it's going downstream. Flow with it. Don't resist it. You resisting it is you contributing to the madness of what's going on right now and all the hell that's breaking loose. Go with the flow. The resistance that you will meet by going with the flow is dealing with other people, other things, and other situations. That's not going with the flow. And that's contributing to hell on earth. And when you are going with the flow and are aligned with your mind, body, spirit, and soul, the darkness will come for you. The moths will go to the flame, bro. Sis, whoever's listening to this. And you will be warned to these random attacks without being induced by any medications that was prescribed by a lot of these evil doctors. And I'm not saying that all medicine is of an evil nature. For example, I have asthma. Bruh, I don't know what this world would be like if inhalers wasn't created. And albuterol wasn't created. Medicine is important to a certain extent, and that's what everything is to a certain extent. For real, for real. But don't use these things as a coping mechanism to block out the serious issues of your soul sickness. Because the relations that we're having amongst each other and in the world, it stems from that soul sickness. And the one thing that I tend to bring up all the time is how to overcome the soul sickness. And you have to overcome the passions of this world. And if you don't know what the passions of this world is, I want to reference something for you guys to look up. And you will find it if you are seeking the truth and you truly want to know. But in Homily number 2, by St. Isaac the Syrian, he breaks down what the passions are of this world. And see which one of these passions has you bound and chained up. And then you'll know why you're feeling so heavy to this world. Instead of living from the center of your being. That's what I encourage you guys to do. Live from the center of your being. Figure out which other passions have you chained and bound up, and free yourselves. And you can't do nothing of your own self. This is when you need the intervention of God. And you have to be genuine when you're seeking this path. Because God knows whether you're faking it or not. Whether you're doing this and you say out with your words like, oh, God, please help me with X, Y, and Z. I'm tired of being lonely. I'm looking for a spouse. I'm trying to get this job. I need money. I'm tired of living like this. God is not a God of lack, first and foremost. So don't look for that. Everything that I just named, and some people pray for this constantly, 24/7, all the time. And guess what they're tied to? They're tied to this world. They're tied to physical possessions. Seek unconditional love. Seek out the truth. Seek out peace. Seek out joy. Seek out gentleness. And find that within you. And that's where I constantly say this. The kingdom of heaven is located. It's located inside of you. And your soul knows this. But going back to them 3 S's of silence, stillness, and solitude, you will get reminded of that. If you put yourself within those 3 qualities of silence, stillness, and solitude. But if you constantly partying all the time, if you constantly are around people, if you are constantly intoxicating yourself with whatever it is, you're not going to be able to get the silence, solitude, and stillness. It's not going to happen. And a lot of the issues that you have are not going to get resolved whatsoever. It is not going to get resolved. So yeah, this is where I'm going to cut it short. Normally we go for 30 plus on here, but I just wanted to go on a little rant and talk my talk. But you must break the barrier between your falsehood and your false identity and your true self. And align to that. And your true self is going to remind you where the false identity and all of that stuff is coming from. It's going to remind you, and it's going to be clear as day, insightful. You're going to receive foreknowledge about people around you and events that is to come. And you won't be surprised. Anything that's happening in this world is not surprising to people at the same time, but it kind of is. But I'm talking about you really won't be surprised. Because God is going to warn you of the evil that is to come. And somehow, some way, if you don't get warned in spirit, you're going to get warned in the external world before it happens. An example of this, if we want to get biblical, is Noah and Noah's Ark. People thought he was a fool for building that ark. And it's like, what for? What are you doing, bro? But he got foreknowledge of what was to happen. What was going to happen. And the people didn't listen. And instead, they was drowned in their passions, in their evil ways. And this is the same thing with Lot. The people were warned, and they didn't heed to the warning. So the whole place got leveled to ashes. The whole valley got leveled. Don't be the person that's constantly being warned and you're not heeding the warnings at all. Listen. Listen to what God is trying to tell you. Listen to the truth that's deep down within you. And by doing so, you're going to be living out your purpose. And you're going to be living from the light of God. It's that simple. Don't make it more complicated than it already is. We are experiencing hell, folks. Die to this world. Be reborn again. And experience new life. Within Christ. Within God. And you guys will be just fine. I love y'all. I'm out of here. And until next time. I think that on the next podcast episode, we're going to be getting into the life of Jesus Christ. That's very important. I want to dedicate a whole episode to Jesus Christ. And I will do that next episode. All right. Love y'all. I'm out of here. Deuces.